Celtics Film Room here, and this is Celtics Sixers Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 3 breakdown here. I want to hear, just make sure audio is all set. Is indeed. Yep, we are good. We are all set. Um, you know, one of the one of the things we talk about a lot with this series, um, is whether or not is Boston is going to show up or not. Mentally. That's one of the things that I focus on a lot when I try to look right out of the gates, and then I try to look again at the end of the first quarter. And it kind of frustrated me. It seemed like some of them was just missing open shots, but also just taking their foot off the gas just a little bit at the end of the first quarter. It seemed like Philly also a combination of them putting their foot on the gas and then Boston taking their foot off the gas a little bit at the end of that first quarter. Made for a poor stretch, a poor stretch of basketball. But other than that, the Celtics looked like they were in control most of this game. Every single time Philly, made some sort of run, the Celtics came right back and they threw a punch. They threw a punch and give them credit. They had a double-digit lead basically most of the second half, or close to, at least like an 8-point lead for most of the second half. And they were able to take control of this, take back control of the series, as we would expect. And if they can just do this again for one more game, they're going to be set up in really good shape where they can either take game 5 or 6, not have to do a 7-game series, and you can put yourself in a really good position because whoever comes out of that Knicks Heat series is probably going to be pretty banged up. Um, they're probably going to play a 6-7 game series, and it's going to be a real good battle. I got a feeling in that next Heat series because I think the Heat have shown their potential, but then Jimmy Butler didn't play game 2, and I don't think the Knicks have reached their highest potential, which makes me think that's going to be a really good series, and maybe we could do some breakdown on that. We'll see in the future, but for now, let's dive right into the film. So one thing I loved about the Celtics, which I'm sure you talked about tonight, or you heard about tonight on any of the post game stuff, anybody was going into it is, or on the broadcast, they talked about a little bit is, they had all 5 guys that were guarding Embiid at one point, and it's again, it goes to show the Celtics versatility. And it's not just all 5 guys in the starting lineup. It's every single guy that comes off the bench too. Like even Brogdon, who can't guard Embiid, but he can. It's not like as soon as Embiid gets the ball, and of course he's gonna be I can score on this. But as soon as a guy like Brogdon would be on Embiid, he could hold his ground for a couple. He could take a bump, and then they can double team. It's not like it's not like it's Jordan Poole or something. No offense, Jordan Poole, but you're definitely not quite as strong as Malcolm Brogdon is. So that's the beauty of the Celtics defense is they can throw multiple guys at Joel Embiid, and that will not be a liability. Malcolm is a liability on Joel Embiid, but you look at they a lot of times they start and they put take the volume off. They put Marcus Smart on Joel a lot of possessions, and that's what they're trying to work. So then when they do try to switch on a screen and roll, and that way Al can switch on to Joel, and they get the matchup they want. Really, Al did a fantastic job defensively tonight. I thought he did. I thought he was phenomenal defensively tonight, compared to previous nights in terms of forcing the Sixers into more stuff. Rather than letting them get into certain stuff. Notice how far Al's up already. Part of that is high post with Joel, and they run these screens and roll. Al can be up, and Joel's going to get the shot here, but you're going to take this shot over, a James Harden getting into the lane layup, or a rotation 3. That's not something you want to give up. You'll give up these shots to Joel all day long. You'll let Joel get 30, 40 points on these shots all day long. That means other Sixers aren't getting that much involved. And so right from the get go, um, I thought their defensive intensity was great. They were clearly, I think the Sixers were a little too amped up after the Joel Embiid MVP ceremony, and then if you combine that with um, not only that, but the Celtics watching that ceremony and feeling an edge, to go out and perform, I thought that was critical too. We talk about Joel too, not being a 3-point shooter. Like on this possession specifically, I don't know, just change conversation dramatically. I was watching it. This is what they want. This isn't exactly great defense, but Joel taking a 28-foot 3-pointer is something that looks a little closer, but whatever. It's something you're definitely going to be okay with because Joel is an operator in the mid range, and now you have to adjust your sight line a little bit. Your depth perception is a little bit different when you operate from a certain area, like DeMar DeRozan, for example, who operates out of the mid range, and then you move behind the 3-point line. You have to adjust your shot a lot more. It's a lot different for a shooter to move from the mid range to a 3-point shot because when you're in the mid range, you don't have to really get into your legs as much. It's not as much as a process. There's a lot you have to really get into your lower half a little bit more. You have to do work a little bit more on each shot. It takes a little bit more legs. It's just more effort. But when you're in the mid range, it's easy. It's much more easy the way it flows. And when you're in 3-point line, you have to do a little bit more work. And especially if you're tall, you have a better, not as good of a chance to be able, like if you're really tall, like if you're like 7 feet, plus with, long arms, you're not going to be as good of a shooter. Joel actually has still pretty decent form, but he's not an inefficient 3-point shooter. So you're going to concede this shot all day long with Joel. And I said he'd probably make he'd make 1 or 2 threes the rest of the series, maybe three, maybe 2 or 3, and he made one tonight. So we'll give him credit. But this is a shot you're willing to give up all day long. Take a look at this possession here. Tyrese Maxey, who was, he was aggressive hunting a shot tonight, but just didn't have it. Feel like he was forcing his shot sometimes to try to get going. I think he made one early. But right here on this possession, what I like about the Celtics is the ball pressure. Look at Derek White. Derek White's going to meet Maxey again at the inbounding mark. Which is, that's exactly what even higher than actually that's even higher. Here's the inbound mark right here. He's going to meet him. I guess there's a couple inbound marks. I was looking at this one, and he's moving. I mean, he's meeting him high. He's moving him real high towards half court, and that's good. Ball pressure, force that right. And now Joel's going to set the screen. He can't set this. That's pretty much an illegal screen. That's definitely a legal screen. Didn't call it. It's the playoffs. Got to fight through. Derek keeps fighting through. And you know what? Because of that, it made it really difficult on Al. This wasn't one of Al's greatest defensive possessions, but Marcus shows enough help, to mess with Tyrese a little bit, I guess. But Tyrese, that's a shot Tyrese should be able to make. And then the Celtics do all flops. They get a fast break. Take a look here on this possession. Jason did not have the greatest defensive game, and you heard Joe Mazzulla actually talk about it in their locker room speech. I mean, not speech, but their post game briefs. They keep it pretty short. Joe does. They're NBA players. They're not kids, so you don't need to go on for a half hour. But he did say, "Listen, you gotta play defense, dude," which he didn't do a great job of tonight. Look at this, ball pressures are not great here. He had a few good defensive possessions, but here, I mean, just getting beat off the dribble here, that just can't happen. Jason has to be better defensively here. He got beat off the dribble too much, and look how tall he is defensively. I get he's looking to figure out where the Embiid screen is going to come, but he backs up here. And he feels screen coming. I don't know if Al communicated this that Joel backed off or not. But you can't get beat off, especially Tobias is not, the best left-handed. Tobias doesn't really finish with his left a lot, and he's also he's not as good. He's a righty, right? So it's going to be just a little less. There's going to be like a small split second longer it's going to take for him to accelerate with his left than his right away. So the fact you still got beat, right, is that crossover dribble. He does this crossover dribble, and it's actually, a pretty good acceleration by Tobias here to his left. But Jason still gets beat off the dribble here, makes this pass, and now Marcus has to come in and help. It's a wide open PJ Tucker three, just misses it. So not exactly a great defensive possession, but PJ Tucker is kind of hit and miss, it feels like at times, from the corner three. So it's not the worst shot, you will concede. Rather that than a Tyrese Maxey wide open three. Here, Jalen gets a little bit out of control, and in transition, it's send a prayer. Hopefully they miss. They didn't. Take a look here. The difference with the Sixers offense here a lot of times, versus when Embiid's not on versus game one. I think it's just such a contrast. At this point, they were getting into their sets so fast, and this is just not James Harden's play style. This is just not when he's at his best. He's just not a one-on-one kind of guy. Just isn't. All right, take a look here on this possession. Right, Joel's already setting up for a post look. At this point, in the last game, the Sixers were looking to do some sort of, pick and roll already at this point. They were already looking to do some sort of pick and roll. At this point, they would have Paul Reed come up and set screen and roll, and they get Spain action. Maxey's not even set yet. Tobias is not even set yet. And then and then the Celtics would get caught, a lot of times in confusion. They would be the one having to make quick split decisions and choices they don't want necessarily, and they put a lot of pressure on the Celtics defense. Here, you're just giving them time to set up. Joel's already trying to make a post-up move, and it's predictable. As good and as efficient he is at times, Joel Embiid is, it's predictable. It is predictable, and it's not as difficult, for the Celtics to guard as opposed to a Joel Embiid, screen and roll, a quick where he gets out of the screen real fast. So Harden here is just going to go one-on-one. He sees Al all over him. Harden just kind of flops, and Celtics get transition basketball, and they open up with a great start, kind of how I thought they were going to. Just didn't last. I thought they were going to be a little bit more stronger of a first half, in my opinion, but it is what it is. They had the good start they wanted, and that's the tone. That set the tone right away. Here, one-on-one, Joel's never easy to guard here. You can see Al just gets beat here. He gets beat going to his right. It's hard. You don't want to concede anything. You don't want to concede anything easy. You don't want to concede anything easy with Joel, but, I mean, it's hard work. Marcus can't come off Maxey here. Jalen doesn't really want it. I mean, James is like way out of the play here. So I guess Jalen maybe could have helped from behind, and then Marcus could have helped on James, and then Jalen could have switched on to Maxey there. So I guess they could have tried that, but, just Al gets beat positioning-wise. Too easy. Just that possession really worked out in the favor for the Sixers here. Here they're going to set screen and roll. Derek got wiped on the first screen, so he's going to decide to go under here. And also Maxey also comes around this screen not very tightly whatsoever, because Derek, Derek is going under. He sees this. But you still got to be more direct. And look, I mean, in my opinion, you got to Maxi here. You got your angles, right? And this will come with feel as he gets older. But in my opinion, you can't come around so wide here. You got to be more efficient, and you got to attack Al right away. Al does a great job coming up more with his drop point, which is fantastic. That's exactly what you want. But Maxi did not take the most efficient route here. And look, he's trying to create an angle to the basket. I get it. But it's not always about creating an angle to the basket versus getting to the basket and then kicking and then being okay if you don't have a good attack angle. Now I can kick it out. But here he's already trying to set up his angle early on. Forces, not necessarily not a great contest by Derek. But just enough bodies in the paint, to be able, to force a miss here. So not a horrible, not a great ending though. Not a horrible defensive possession because it wasn't a good defensive possession in my opinion because of just wasn't a great ending to the contest. But the principles were there in the beginning, and it's in my opinion, Maxi's got to take a little bit more of efficient of a route there on that pick and roll here. I like what the Sixers are doing here. They're setting up screen and roll. What I don't like, that's an illegal screen, first of all. Just a little bit frustrating. You can't, I mean, this is like clear illegal screen right in front of the ref. Instead, he's not watching this at all, and he's trying to watch James Harden dribble as if there's anything important happening right there. He's just, I guess, decided not to watch the Joel Embiid illegal screen. You cannot do this. That is such a clear illegal screen, clear as day. Illegal screen, you got to call that. I mean, that's just easy call. I don't understand that. That's most blatant illegal screen, I mean, you can ever do. And this just doesn't get called. Regardless, Al does a really good job. It's pickup point, and now you're showing bodies. This is a point where you're either going to force James to a step back at this point, which this is a higher point. He can't just get, right? There's a difference between him shooting this at this point versus him getting here, him getting down, getting downhill and then taking this step back right here versus him getting here and taking this step back right here. There's a big difference. That 4 to 5 feet, it's a big difference. Feel wise, you're a little bit less comfortable. Again, you have to do a little bit more work the farther away you get from the basket. And James is also dealing with some mental stuff right now, clearly, in terms of just, trusting a shot, trusting his feel. He looks like he's almost second guessing himself at times a little bit on the court right now. As good of a playmaker he is, so he's going to come in, right, notice. And then now, since Embiid's not a threat to shoot the three here, Al does a great job on the pickup point. And Embiid's got to slip out of this screen sooner, but the spacing is all kinds of messed up here. Just not a great spot to run this screen and roll here. Joel runs it where when James comes off, this is just a bad spot to set a screen and roll. This is bad offensive execution here from the Sixers. They're setting a screen and roll right here is horrible because Jalen's going to fight over the screen, even despite the illegal screen. He's going to fight over this really well. This is what I like from the Celtics. Jaylen Brown working the crap out of James Harden. All right, notice. Boom. And Joel's just going to have to set an illegal screen and try to get Jalen off. And he does a little bit. But James, they show bodies. Derek White can get in the passing lane to Maxi. Here when this happens, off-ball movement is such an important thing. Set a screen here. If you're the Sixers. Jaden, set a screen on Derek here. Flip Tyrese to come around. I mean, just there's got to be a little bit more. Tyrese, go back door. Even if Robert Williams comes in, you're probably going to suck in Jason Tatum. Jason's probably, he's not a Jimmy Butler level defender, so he's not. Listen, he's not a liability off the ball whatsoever, and he's probably one of the better. He's definitely a better off ball defender than Malcolm and Jalen. He's probably an average off ball defender, which is fine. An average off ball defender is just fine because that means he's going to hold his ground, but he's not going to make those Jimmy Butler type plays off the ball. Just feel and go grab the basketball. So you're probably gonna at least get a look from Jason. If Tyrese goes backdoor here, and at this point now Melton just has to figure out, am I gonna cut to the corner wing, or am I gonna cut all the way down to the corner to get this pass from Tyrese? So it's a vanilla, really vanilla offensive, setup here. I'm not sure whether or not this is Doc's fault or if this is just the players not having a feel. In my opinion, it's more on the players, but it definitely can be emphasized from the coach in film. Um, and I'm just not sure how much that's being done. And here, just not good spacing whatsoever. McDaniels is actually going to do a good job here of off ball movement, and that's exactly how they're going to get this three here. So McDaniels actually does a good job here of moving off the ball. Glad someone did, and he does, and they get a decent three. But he is shooting the ball with the tightest, right now. Every shot he takes, it looks like that sphincter just gets tighter and tighter and tighter every shot he takes right now, especially at home, which is strange. That dude just needs to see one shot go in, and then maybe he can get going a little bit, which I don't want as a Celtics fan, but just breaking down the game as it is, And again, that's a late shot clock three. He sees the shot clock going down 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Later and later on the shot clock, the harder it is for a role player to make that shot. Mentally, it feels like you have to get the shot up versus playing in rhythm within the flow of the game. So, a little bit of a vanilla offensive possession by the Sixers there. They end up getting a decent shot still. It ends up working out okay. I guess he ends up making a three here, but even here, it's just like a big dip. It doesn't really feel like a massive rhythm three. Finally gets one going, but I think he didn't even matter because I think he missed a few after. So, but here's how this possession started here. Derek's going to fight over the screen well, a little bit, and here's the drop point. The drop point has got to be better. Joel does a better job here on this screen, slipping out right away. Sets the screen, slips out right away, forces pressure on Al. But there just has to be better. There just has to be someone that comes up more. There's got to be Al, and I think it can be Al because Jason can help here. Jason can help here on Joel, which he is going to do. And at this point, I don't think it's necessary. I think at that point you just have to full on switch, have Rob come up, have Jalen, have Rob come up, have Jalen go to the corner and send Derek, to go get Tyrese. Which instead what's going to happen here, James is going to draw everybody in. And he's going to make a really good pass here, to Jaden. To get this shot. But now the thing is, though, after this game is James Harden really hasn't established the fact that he can score like he did in game one. So he's going to have to reestablish that in order for the Celtics to take him more seriously as a threat. They still are, and they're still really trying to throw him off. But he's probably going to come a little bit in terms of concern level, a little bit farther down the list in terms of things the Celtics have to worry about. Now, that doesn't mean pick and roll at the top, but in terms of when Harden gets downhill, they're probably not going to have as much fear because the dude has not played super confident. Here at this point, it looks like not the Celtics, but the Sixers tried something, couldn't get anything, passed it around a little bit. Not bad. Quick, Jaden McDaniels, actually decent feel here. Quick, just trying to make something happen. Sets a screen here. The Anthony Melton actually gets a pretty good shot here. Definitely defensive miscommunication here. Al, he's engaged, but just poor communication, poor feel. Rob and Al, miscommunication. Sixers get a wide open three. They just missed it. Here's downhill. You can't get beat off the ball like this. I thought too many times tonight the Celtics are going to have to be better on the ball. too many times tonight, the Celtics on-ball defense, they were just getting beat off the perimeter way too easily at times tonight, especially that fourth quarter stretch, which I'm going to show here in a second. Just not good whatsoever here. Malcolm, I mean, look how tall he is. He's not really getting into his legs here, and he worked, but look how forward his weight is here at this point. When you're leaning this much, you're not going to be able to move either laterally as quickly here. Your weight has to be shifted further back here at this point for you to either go laterally quicker. And at this point, Malcolm is not in a good position where he can defend, and he's not as engaged as he needs to be. And he's going to get beat off the dribble. Look how tall he is. He's his balance. It's going to just take him a little bit longer. So James is going to beat him off the dribble with his right. So it's just God have to be better containing the basketball. There's no reason, especially it didn't even take a crossover here. It just took James to beat him off the ball here. But Rob does a really good job. Rob is going to disguise himself right behind Grant here. And James is going to be aggressive. He's made a lot of passes to this point, and I think this threw him off a little bit, James, in terms of mental. Right, it's hard to see McDaniels from here at this point, and he can't see Rob, so he's going to go up for this shot, and Rob's just going to come out of nowhere in terms of visually for James, even though he was lurking, and he's going to block the shot. Really good help defense from Rob. Again, Celtics don't have anybody else like Rob as a rim protector, so that's what makes his element just so special. His wingspan is so much bigger than everybody else, and he jumps like a trampoline. So really good, help defense right there from Rob, and the Celtics were able to take advantage of getting transition. Missed a layup, which they missed some wide open shots, which we'll get to in the offensive portion. Dang, I gotta go through these quicker, man. Here again, get beat off the perimeter, which wasn't great. All right, Joel sets up. Just notice their pace. Again, I got to talk about this. The pace for the Sixers is just completely different. They have to be able to get into their sets sooner, in my opinion, and they don't really run sets. Don't really run like what did this pass do here? Like seriously, what did this pass do here? You attracted Malcolm for a second. What you did is you set it up so the Celtics could guard their guys. Actually, the Celtics were in transition. Jalen was still dribbling. All you did with this pass is help Jalen set up so he could guard James here. There was nothing helpful about this pass. It doesn't make any sense. James, not even a threat to score in this possession. He's looking to pass, which is fine, but they need more. They need to continue to put pressure on the paint. The NBA is too athletic in this day and age, and defenders are too good. They're too athletic. To the game plans, the way they set up their defenses, the way they scheme it, they're too good, too smart to just swing it around the perimeter and expect, to win like that. It just doesn't work. You have to continuously put pressure on the rim. So Melton's going to make a quick decision here. This might have been even a travel, to be honest. It's definitely a travel. I can do this. Close. He's moved. This is a travel. It's bang bang, but they've called that a travel a lot of times this year. I've seen our guys get called travel a lot of times. That's not important. That's that's irrelevant. That doesn't define a little bit, but that doesn't define the play. I don't know what Melton was thinking here. I don't know how he thought he was going to get this shot off. Because Rob doesn't get beat horribly off the dribble. He actually contains Melton good enough. And Derek's there weak side. I think Derek's actually going to get the block here. I guess Rob actually ended up getting the block. But this is just in my opinion, recklessness. Melton's going to put pressure on the rim, but this is not great spacing. The timing of the cut from McDaniels is not good here. Notice, Jaden McDaniels, he's going to cut here, and all he's actually going to do is mess up the spacing even more. And James not even being in the play is going to allow Jalen to be, prevent a McDaniels cut. If he were to stay out here, Jalen can actually guard two guys now from where Melton is. Joel Embiid's away from the play, not anywhere. He's always looking for a post up, so they're always going to play tight defense on him. And he's not a good off ball mover. He's a center. It's not his play style. So when this happens, really doesn't open up a lot of angles. At this point, Malcolm is guarding two guys. Malcolm can guard him, and then Jalen can also help here almost because he's now watching the play, and James is 40 freaking feet away from the basket. This is really your only avenue, and this is a jump ball, which would not be a great pass anyways. And now you're down to 12 on the shot clock. You got to reset your guys, and it's just Joel Embiid one-on-one, which is probably the best way to salvage your possession. But there's no way D'Anthony, when he goes up here, is going to be able to make that pass. He's not even thinking about it. And just overall not good offensive execution from the 76ers. Going to take advantage of it. This cut is actually going to work out okay, though, for McDaniels because he's going to end up getting the offensive rebound here. And Malcolm is just going to watch, instead of putting a body on someone, which he can't do. Malcolm, I'm sorry, he's got to be a little bit more gritty. He has to be a little bit more gritty here. When it comes to just some of these intangible plays, getting beat off the perimeter, allowing offensive rebounds, ball watching off the ball, just some of his defensive stuff, has really just, frustrated me at a lot of times this year. And listen, if that's your worst defensive liability, Malcolm Brogdon, you're in pretty good shape. But still, it's frustrating because you just want to be perfect and you want everybody to execute at the highest level possible here. Take a look at some of these fourth quarter defensive possessions. I thought there was a lot of room. That's the thing too, is the Sixers. The Sixers had a lot of openings to win this game. They had a really good opportunity to win this game. The Celtics missed a lot of wide open threes, and the Sixers returned the favor. The Celtics, they played hard. They had edge, especially that first. And they forced. The one thing I'll give them credit for, the Celtics, especially this game, is they prevented the Sixers from getting in a rhythm. And a lot of times that was with their offense, just having to make a big shot. And they prevented the Sixers. From getting into a rhythm. So they did a good job with that for most of the game. And that was the biggest reason. Sixers never really run that first quarter. That was the only run they went on, and that was when they let down the most. So they did a good job for most of the game, and it showed. Let me go to the fourth quarter here. That fourth quarter stretch. When Embiid was off the court. I'm expecting that. Yeah, Joel's off the court at this point. This is when the Celtics, they should have pulled away, and they didn't. This was, a bad stretch for the Celtics here. They just couldn't execute here as good as they need to do. But defensively, they were actually pretty decent. Just offensively, they did not execute as well as they needed to. And then they had one bad defensive stretch with Embiid off the court, and that's where they really lost this game. Or could have lost this game. Sorry, they didn't lose this game. Here, I don't know what you want me to say about this possession. Either it's make or miss league. You didn't make it. Is what it is. Niang, this is a shot he's capable of making, but it's a lot of dribbling. The Sixers haven't initiated any offense yet. James hasn't even really put any pressure on the rim. Malcolm, again, getting beat too easily off the dribble here. I'm sorry, Malcolm. James is too old at this point now. Right? Whatever. You just shouldn't be getting beat that easily off the dribble from James. I'm sorry. He's not a threat to shoot out here. You should not be expecting him to shoot the ball right now. It shouldn't be that hard. He just looks, he's on his toes a little bit here. But initially he looks pretty. He looks too much on his heels at this point. And just he gets beat off the dribble too easily. He uses physicality a little bit, and so Marcus has to come over and help a little bit. And so it's a pretty good contest by Marcus. And it's not exactly a super in rhythm three at this point, right? Because the Sixers never really in a rhythm, and so it worked out. And then here, right, they had a few good defensive possessions to open up the fourth quarter. And here, this pissed me off so much. I couldn't even tell you how much this pissed me off right here. Yo, 0. George Niang, know what kind of player he is. This is a dude that is always thinking. He's a smart basketball player, makes quick decisions. And look at the gap of room you gave him here. There is no reason, right? Niang does a good job of disguising this as a dribble handoff, but there is no reason. Look how tall he is. You are not ready to defend. You are not ready to defend. There is no reason you should be getting beat off the dribble from George Niang here. There is no reason. No reason you should be getting beat off the dribble from George Niang. You should be able to stay in front of him. But you not being completely focused and engaged on this possession is going to allow Niang to come in here and get a nice easy layup. And this is why you couldn't break the game open. They could have been on the bench the final 2 minutes. That's the reality. I'm sorry. It's a good win. They needed it even when they didn't play their best. But they can't allow this to happen. Here's again another possession here off the ball. There is no reason you need to help here on Jaden McDaniels. There's no reason you need to help. It's 12 on the shot clock. It's not 1 on the shot clock. 12 on the shot clock. There is no reason you need to help on Jaden McDaniels here. Jaden McDaniels is not getting a shot. He picks up his dribble. He's not getting off a shot here. There is no reason, right? And this is why he's not a good off-ball defender. He's an average off-ball defender, Jason is at this point in his career. And then he just gives up a wide open 3. There is no reason, right? You're really good personnel defensively on the court here. Everybody can guard everybody on the court. Everybody can guard everybody. EVE. Everybody, I guess EGE. Everybody guard everybody. It's that there's no reason for him to come over. And he does and gives up an open 3 after the Celtics got another bucket. So there's 2 buckets in a row. There's 5 points right there. Could be a 17-point lead right now. Had Jason just not completely failed defensively here on 2 possessions in a row. And that's why Joe highlighted his defense. Because now there's the difference between a 17-point game and a 10-point game. Celtics come back down again. Score. For some reason, Malcolm Brogdon, off ball. I'm not, he's like looking out of the corner of his eye. I just not expecting something to happen. You gotta always be reacting. He's expecting one thing. He's just making sure he's going to be ready for a James Harden help drive. And that's it. So he gets sucked in here way too much. Marcus Smart can hold his ground on James Harden. Okay. There's no need. Take a step back here. Take a step back. All right. Do not get sucked in here. And then if you are going to come in, you better be ready to move right away. And his angle he takes this pass, I don't know why he ever thinks he's gonna steal this, unless James throws a horrible pass. Which that's not James. James is gonna throw right on the money. He's gonna throw it to your shooting pocket because he's an elite passer. There is no reason to try to steal this. There's no reason to try to steal this. Niang, what is he? What is he known for? Making quick decisions. So what's he going to do? Dribble right away, and now you just gave him let him beat you off the dribble. And this is horrible help defense from Rob here. Horrible help defense. Are we serious? Are we serious? Like, has Jaden McDaniels cooked us from three that much this year? Like, just not good on ball defense, not good off ball defense here in this stretch, and this is where they let Philly back in the game, and where it never should have been a game. And then Joel comes back in, and instead of this being like a 20-point game, it's a single digit game. It's that simple. Now your guys got to work a little bit harder in crunch time. It's the playoffs. You want to give you guys as much rest as possible. These games are draining. They're mentally and physically draining. You have to give so much energy in order to win a championship, right? We're not talking about just advancing this one round. We're talking about, you have to take a game by game approach in terms of every single game and trying to win a championship. But when you look at it from a broad perspective, you have to be able. That's why you have to take so much advantage of, one by one, these possessions and executing to the best. Because if you don't, you are going to lose. You're going to lose in the end. So they have to just a little bit more locked in. And again, there's going to be errors. They're not going to be perfect all the time. But that was an important stretch in the game. Fourth quarter, can't have it. Can't have it. Right? You got to be as perfect as possible. Right out of the gate here, we'll take a look at one more defensive possession, and we looked at defense for a long time, and we'll switch it. Here, is this a legal screen or something? Jalen here, it's not horrible. It looks like he felt a little surprised by the screen coming that early, so maybe we got to call this out just a little bit earlier. And Joel sets a pretty good screen here. Definitely illegal, but is what it is. Jalen fights pretty well, and then for some reason there's a big defensive miscommunication here, and between Jason and Grant. There's got to be defensive. You gotta talk. You have to talk. So Jason's going to leave his man Melton in the corner here to come up to try to help on Joel, because Grant is in the drop position, right, where Al or Rob usually is. And Grant is in the help position here. And now at this point, right, Jason's going to help out on Joel, but now he doesn't communicate this. So now, and maybe Jason's not trying to communicate it because he's trying to make a steal. He's not trying to tip off James. So we can try to get a steal. He's confident that, I guess, that Joel's going to make a pass here. But you can't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. You got to communicate here. You got to communicate. Or Al has to see this. Al has to see this and go, Grant, go to the corner. Right? And that James, be fair, sees it right away, makes a quick pass, but you shouldn't even be in this position, right? James does a really good job seeing Melton, and then it's possession over from there. It's a simple thing. Communicate. That's it. Okay. It's that simple. I love my light skin on these teams, man. I love them. I love Grant. Love Derek. Love Jason. But man, we gotta communicate. We gotta communicate here on this. Just frustrating. That they couldn't get it done. And hey, JT turned on that killer eventually. Down the stretch of the game, but just defensively, there wasn't a problem of effort tonight. I didn't think the effort was bad, which was good. Just smart execution, finishing possessions. not in terms of offensive rebounds, but just mentally in terms of knowing when and when not to leave your guys off the ball. And then on the ball, just not letting yourself relax. A lot of guys they did good on pick and roll, not being relaxed at all whatsoever. But just stand still, guys beating other, our guys off the ball or on the ball tonight was just, was a struggle at times. Too much of a struggle. And the Sixers took advantage of it at times, and the other times they didn't. They missed some shots, or got rejected at the rim. So we'll take a look at some of the offense. Here from this game, right away they made it an emphasis. And they let to not fire up threes, but they were comfortable with letting them fly here in transition, semi-transition, basically transition. Simple as that. Guys are recovering, trying to set up with the ball, Joel, and at this point, Joel was okay with Marcus Smart taking an open three here. He says, okay, thank you, I'll take it, and he makes it. Simple as that. In transition again. Look at the shot clock, 20. Simple as that. Joel's running back. Joel is the last one to come back a lot of times. Take a look at this possession. Joel's not even the screen yet. There's 19 in the shot clock. It's been 5 seconds. Joel is still not in the play. Finally, by 18, he shows up in the camera frame. Doesn't matter at this point. Jason's already released it. It's the open three. 8-2. Boston throws the first punch. And that set the tone. Set the tone from here. And look at it again. When Joel Embiid's on the court, he's always going to concede something here, right? This is such a tough position when Joel's in this help spot and Al's in the corner. And there's a lot of motion going on here, right? Jalen and Jason are both moving off the ball currently. That's a lot of pressure it forces on the defense to set up. And now Jason's going to keep moving. Good job. Jason's actually going to fake the screen here, sees this. Tobias actually holds him here, does a good job of hiding the contact. And Jason is going to get the catch. Marcus sees it, makes the pass, right? And Jason gets the catch. Wide open. Jason's smart enough, sees Embiid come over, trust his guy Al in the corner. He can make the shot easily. Doesn't make a good pass. Got to make a better pass here. Jason gets a little nonchalant. But Al right away. Maxey is forced to help because if he doesn't, it's going to give up a wide open three. Tobias is caught in no man's land. Not a good rotation from the Sixers. Didn't communicate here on this rotation. Otherwise, maybe they could have recovered this here if they communicated. No communication from the Sixers here in rotation from Tyrese or Tobias. Al's going to swing, right? So Jason gets it in the paint. Swing to Al. Al's going to swing to Derek. Wide open three. Simple as that. Average defense will get beat all the time from the Celtics, especially if they run not even great offense, good offense. And that was good offense, really good offense. Here's another possession. Simple as that. 76ers, right? They're not as athletic of a team. They got more athletic with Jaden McDaniels at the trade deadline, PJ Tucker in the offseason. Good ads defensively for defensive athleticism. But at the same time, James Harden on the court. Tobias Harris, who's physical, decent defender. Not a great defender, though. Tyrese Maxey, not a good defender. Maybe an average defender when he's locked in. Set a ball screen here. Jalen has been good all series long, been super efficient. Marcus going to come in. He sees Joel coming to the paint right away. And look at this. Al's going to set it really good. I'm telling you, there's nothing I love more when people either move off the ball or set screens off the ball. Al is going to set a brilliant screen here. Joel is going to have no idea what's happening off the ball away. Joel is Al's man, or Al is Joel's man here to guard. Marcus is going to beat him on the screen here, right? He's going to slip right away. Jalen's going to make this pass. Joel's going to get sucked in, and Al's going to set this screen here on Tobias, and Tatum is going to kick to the corner. We're going to get a wide open 3-point shot here. Just great set design here. This might have been something Joe called, and Marcus is going to know, because Marcus, they had to have set this up already, or maybe not set this up, but Joe probably called out a play. They got this, to set up Joel. He knows Joel as soon as he sees Joel, and knows Al. Knows Al is making the screen here. He's going to make a great wraparound pass, and for a wide open three. Great screen by Al. Great play design. Love this wide open three in the corner. No hesitation. Gets it to go. Textbook Celtics offense at their best. Beautiful Celtics offense at their best right there. That is one of my favorite possessions of the game. Just beautiful offense. It looks like they get into their set around 15, which isn't bad. 16, they might have called that out, and they were waiting to set things up, which is why it took a second or two longer. But just love it. Absolutely love it here on this possession. Beautiful offense. And they, again, threw the first punch, 14-4. Here on this possession, Marcus can finish this here. Gets blocked. Harris has good hands. Give Tobias credit. Marcus, almost beats him off the dribble. Probably actually did beat him off the dribble. Tobias has good hands, reaches in. Marcus just got to absorb that contact there. And Joel noticed he's not going to help this time because he literally just got beat the last time he did. And so Marcus read it good. Just unfortunate. It's frustrating play. Could have had 2 points, didn't. Is what it is. In transition, Celtics take advantage. Jalen sucks in 2 defenders. Does a good job. And then, attacks Joel. This is too careless. I don't understand why Jalen felt he could just attack Joel and be this carelessly. Decides to. And there's consequences. So there's that. Celtics come back down. Again, simple stuff. Al sets a screen. When you screen with your best player, you're going to attract attention. That's why I love off the ball setting screens with your best player or your second best, one of your top players. You have 2 stars, 2 elite basketball players. You better be using them off the ball because they're going to have just as much gravity as they do on the ball. I talked about that. If you guys are curious a little bit more about that, I've just posted a Steph Curry video recently on how he moves so well off the ball. It's pretty short. You guys can check that out. It's just, it's like 4 or 5 plays, maybe like four or 5 plays of just explaining what makes him so special. And, being able to attract gravity off the ball is so important. And watch here. Now Tobias and Joel are trying to guard Jason Tatum at this point, or not guard, but they're hyper aware. And so now it forces them to make decisions. You put them on their heels, force them to make decisions. Wide open 3 for Al Horford. Good process. Just didn't get the result. 3 was a good 3. Good miss. Not a bad miss. Not a brick right there. Front rim. Soft bounce off the rim. Good shot. Al was on from 3 tonight. 5 for 7. So just happened to miss that 3. They missed a lot of wide open 3s tonight as well. As they did for a stretch before the first half. Here, transition, simple as that. The value of making a good outlet pass right away can't be underrated. Gets it to Jalen. Ball never touches the ground. Never touches the ground here on this fast break. Love it. Absolutely love it here. Ball never touches the ground, and you get 2 points. Just beautiful transition offense here. I don't know what James was doing. and that's it. Right, and then we'll look at crunch time offense, and we'll call it a game. But they established this. They got a lot of good looks on offense throughout the game. They got a little cold here throughout this stretch. I thought they shot happy at one point in that first quarter, and that kind of showed. They got a little too comfortable, but I love the shot profile here. Absolute open mid-range shots. All of these are open mid-range shots or open floaters here. Almost all of them are. This one right here was maybe not. That was the crunch time shot by Jason. Lots of stuff around the rim then, and then 3 points. Love this shot. Love this shot profile here from the Celtics. So if we slide down here, we're not gonna get that. All right, we'll go fourth quarter here. Fourth quarter. Let's take a look here. Take a look at a few crunch time plays and then sign off. No, don't need copyright. Oh, Lord. So here, Philly cuts it down to a 5-point game. Crowd is getting hyped. I can pause and play from here. It's pretty simple. Malcolm's going to take a three. He's going to make a three. You know what? You can have clutch stuff from Malcolm. The beauty is Malcolm. There's really no switch with Malcolm. He's always looking to be aggressive. Always looking to score for himself, which is really valuable in the playoffs. You always want ball movement first. At the end of the day, stuff is going to break down, and he's going to make a shot that's just going to feel like an absolute bailout a lot of times. But for him, it's in rhythm. It's pretty simple here. It's pretty simple. It's very simple, actually. And it just highlights the value as simple as off ball movement can be. Take a look here. Al Horford on this possession. This is really small, so maybe I can zoom in. Oh, this is now we're talking. I mean, this is a little, I guess. There we go. All right, so on this possession here, just highlights the simplicity of off-ball movement. Watch here. I know it's kind of zoomed out because they're trying to get the crowd that showing them engaged. But Al's just going to cut. He's just going to run to the corner. Run to the corner. And it shows the value of getting into your sets early and getting into your offense early and then just making quick decisions. Simple. Jalen's not going to let anything. It's just simple. He's going to make a quick pass. Al's going to throw a pump fake. And Joel Embiid is just going to be lazy. Joel Embiid is going to sit where they might have been playing zone. It's possible. I think they were in zone actually. They were. I think they were disguising a zone here. And then they go back to a man. Miscommunicated. No, it was a zone because Jason was running to the middle here. It looks like Philly was trying to get back into their zone. Notice it's pretty simple here. It's not the greatest shot in the world here, but a simple pump fake. And Malcolm takes it, a little bit of a deeper, but a wide open three. He's going to take a wide open three here. Hit it. It's in rhythm, right? We talked about this on the last breakdown. If you take a shot and you're not going to get blocked, it's a wide open three for an NBA player. It's a wide open three when you take a shot and you're not going to get blocked. Now, it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's harder to feel in rhythm, Sometimes it can be that rhythm can be thrown off a little bit depending on how good the contest is. Even if you know you're not going to get blocked, but you still get a really good contest, maybe it makes you think a little bit. And then, even then, you're starting to think about getting blocked a little bit. Um, it's different versus when you move the ball, everybody touches it in rhythm, everybody's feeling good, and you're the one that gets that last wide open three. You feel super involved. You're like, man, we worked for this possession, feel good in rhythm, engaged in the play. You can hit that three. Malcolm's pretty simple. Wide open three, simple pump fake. Al running to the corner. Joel, they run their zone. So when you zone, you're going to leave open 3-point shooters open. That's it. It's that simple. So they decide to concede a wide open three. Doc plays a little bit of a chess match. The Celtics took advantage right there. They happen to make that shot. Here they run. Looks like they're in zone again. They're sticking with it. Or they run a trap here. They might have been in zone. They end up running a trap. They throw two at Jason. Jason makes a good pass right away. And Malcolm's actually wide open here. And I thought Marcus should have made this pass here. Wide open. And now you're going to get him in rotation. You got to make that pass there, Marcus. He has a good feel. He actually gets a good shot still for him, right? This is a shot Marcus can make here all day. He just misses it. So it's not necessarily the worst shot in the world. It's definitely a shot he could have made. And I wouldn't have been as mad if he made it, but I would have preferred here. And even here, you got a wide open Al Horford in the corner here too. I think you got to make that pass there, Marcus. I think that's just you got to play to your strengths, and ball movement is your biggest strength. Here again, crunch time offense, simple, right? They kind of drain the shot clock a little bit, but they're going to try to fake show two for a second, not really show two. Marcus is going to come set a screen. He's actually going to come back, and he's going to slip back down, seal off PJ, get an open look into the lane, fake the dribble handoff. And this is the value of off-ball movement from your star player. As soon as Jason gives up the ball, he's going to keep moving. It's simple stuff. It's really, if Jason doesn't move here, if Jason doesn't move and just holds back, it's not gonna force any pressure on the defense. Now that Jason is cutting, look at Joel. Joel's trying to block a shot here now. You're putting pressure on the defense. Simple off-ball movement here. It's the value of that in crunch time. Really good stuff here from Jason, giving it up right away. He's got Melton beat. Not only is he working Melton can't worry about Marcus now. Now these two have to communicate, whether it's verbally or with hand signals. They have to communicate at this point because Jason's got him beat. And Melton's actually going to make a good recovery. So Marcus is going to throw, a fake handoff here. He actually could have definitely thrown that handoff. And at that point, because Joel sees Jason cutting, he's going to get sucked into this play here. Right? So Joel gets sucked into this play, which Marcus is now going to have a wide open pass. He's going to have an open pass for a wide open Grant Williams three. He's just going to miss the shot. Thought a few times Grant looked unready to shoot. He was ready to shoot this one. And I felt like he let Joel affect his contest way too much. This is a really good contest here, a really good effort to contest this, but Joel's not blocking this. He's not blocking this. He actually almost does, but there was almost no chance for Joel to block this. You got to shoot this with a little bit more confidence. It looks like his follow through. He just came up a little bit short on that. Wasn't a great shot. When I say great shot, not shot profile, not shot type. Literally from Grant, shooting form wasn't a great shot here. Kind of leaves it short. But the Celtics, hey, they're able to get an offensive rebound. Right? When you generate open threes and you create, look, now your best rebounding big, this is the advantage. You create good offense, now you're going to get offensive rebounding opportunities. Look, Al Horford, who's also wide open here on this play, or maybe not wide open, but when Jason cut in, it also forced James Harden to get sucked into the play. So now Al Horford is wide open. Even Marcus can't get this passing lane through to make a pass to Al Horford. It's not the right play. Regardless, if Grant is the right pass to make here, Al Horford can now get in wide open for an offensive rebounding opportunity. All kinds of offensive rebounding opportunities. Now that your best rebounder is currently sitting on the Celtics bench, basically trying to contest a Grant Williams 3 because they got caught in rotation. And here, Tyrese Maxey, you got to get this rebound, man. You got to get this rebound, especially if you're a ball watching too. You just got to secure this rebound. Marcus is going to do a good job. He wants it more. The reason he's a hustle award winner, goes after this, gets the deflection. Al is there as well. Malcolm's going to get the ball. Pretty simple here. Malcolm, whoa. Okay, we're still here. Malcolm is going to make it pass to Al. Tyrese just gets, I don't know what Tyrese is doing here. This is really kind of just a half-ass attempt here. Go at the basketball. Malcolm's going to pass it here. And then at this point, the Sixers get set up, but Melton goes for this ball fake here. I think he feels as much as he is, because even if they do throw this, they're still open. He probably can still get an open 3 here, so I understand. But James can come out and close, and then if you throw this to Jason, now Jason could come here into the corner, but if Jason doesn't slide to the corner here and Marcus throws his pass, Joel can. We'll see if he would have, but probably can make it in time to block this shot. Instead, it's not the worst defensive decision in the world. I probably wouldn't have gone it. Legler talked about this too on his breakdown after the game. He didn't like that either. I didn't hate it as much as Legler did, but maybe not the smartest. Going all out there. So Al sees this. Now he's got a wide open 3-pointer, and this was kind of the dagger. There were a couple of Jason Tatum was the one who really put this away, but this shot right here was absolutely deflating for Philly, because not only did you create a good offensive possession, you drew 20 seconds off the first, and you drew off another couple seconds getting the offensive rebound, and then you took down 5 more seconds after that. So you had basically a 25-second possession here. Yeah, or what did the shot clock get down to? 3.9. So you had about 2, and then 2 more seconds to secure the ball. So that's 20 seconds plus 2 more, 22, and then another 5 seconds, and plus the clock kept running because it's before 3 minutes. So the clock's going to keep running. Look at the time being, that's like a 30, 35 second possession right there, considering all that happened. And he gave up 3 points. Huge possession. That was the biggest possession in the game right there by far, and the Celtics execution in crunch time was on point. Here, I didn't like they slowed this down, but Jason said, you know what? Tobias Harris, you can't guard me. You can't guard me. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to get my bag, and I'm going to get my shot. And that's what he does here. Listen, Jason a lot of times tries to do this, but then defenders load up. He is in a position here. The Celtics are well spaced, so that's going to be to his advantage. Al, simple off-ball movement. Love it. Love it. Keeps Tyrese engaged. Not a lot of off-ball movement here on this possession, which I don't love. But, hey, they're keeping guys engaged. Joel's trying to not get a 3-second violation here. Because he got matched up on Marcus here. I'm not sure how. I forget how exactly that happened, but they definitely got a miss. So, actually, I think, what's going to happen here is they're going to switch this pointlessly. Again, simple stuff, off-ball movement, simple stuff. I actually like this. Marcus is going to set a screen here just to do something to keep the defense engaged. Joel's going to switch this. There was no need to switch this here, but he just wanted to switch it so he could not have to worry about too much of what was going on. With Horford there, made him now a priority. And now Al can actually come in for an offensive rebounding opportunity with this switch here. Because Joel's trying to make sure when Jason tries to cut to the rim here, he can be their help side. Everybody's watching Jason Tatum right now. He's the most important guy in the court. Spacing is good, simple off-ball movement. So they couldn't load up on a double team from the weak side. They could have from the strong side, but Malcolm just hit a three. He's hit a couple threes at this point in the fourth quarter. You don't want to give up that. Grant Williams is a really good three-point shooter. James is kind of caught in no man's land here a little bit, but the way he's set up in the passing lane is difficult for Jason to make. And so at this point, Jason's like, barbecue chicken, man. I don't think you can guard me. And I'm going to show you why. When you can shoot a basketball and not have to worry about getting blocked, that's basically an open jump shot for Jason Tatum right there. Comes back next possession. Horrible job. So I don't know what the Celtics were doing in transition. The possession before, horribly, they messed it up. Shouldn't have tried to. I don't know what they were doing. They should have pulled the basketball out instead of worrying about so much trying to get points. They could have wasted 20 seconds too. And then maybe even if you don't make it, it's a 6-point lead with 120 instead of 2 minutes. Or 130 instead of 2 minutes. So didn't like what they did. But here they come back, they give up, and the end it was just bad. They didn't have a good. Don't give up a three. Give up twos. Give up twos. Don't give up threes. It overhelped and gave a wide open three to James, which I don't care. Don't leave James Harden wide open for a three in crunch time. There's way better shots you can give up than that. I'm sorry. Even though James was cold and out of it mentally, which I guess the process is there, but not the result. Wasn't there. Here, listen, again, I don't like how much time they spent running down the shot clock, but listen, Jason's like, at this point, I don't think you can guard me. I love the off-ball movement Al Horford's going to do here. He's going to cut here and just force pressure on Joel. Just force pressure on Joel here, to at least think about him and not commit right away to trying to throw a body here at Jason. Ends up not mattering. And Melton actually gets sucked in a lot here. Jason could have threw a pass. This is a tough angle to make this pass, technically, I guess. But Jason could have made this pass here because Melton gets really sucked in. But Melton does a good job of at least being in a chance to be in a passing lane to stop this from Malcolm. But tough news for Melton is he wasn't doubling and Jason wasn't passing. Jason was like, I'm going to work on you, Tobias. You can't guard me. Tobias isn't a horrible defender, but I really don't think he can guard Jason Tatum throughout a 7-game series really well. PJ Tucker, he can do much better. PJ Tucker is not on the floor right now. Doc decided to take PJ off the floor here. And now you give up a little bit defensively in exchange for maybe a little bit more spacing offensively and a little bit more skill offensively. And now at this point, Jason says barbecue chicken. Step back, decisive step back, swish, game, set, control the series. Simple as that. Another good crunch time possession here. Jason draws in the defenders, makes a great pass to Jaylen Brown. Boom. Maybe traveled. Actually, no, he didn't. He threw this. He got it out. Okay. Didn't travel. My bad. He gets it out. And good process. Didn't get the result. Wide open Jaylen Brown 3. They missed a lot of open threes, in my opinion, in this game, which is a good sign. They shot 16 of 48, 16 of 45. So they shot about 37% from 3, I think. So they didn't shoot horrible, but they had Philly gave up a lot of wide open threes. So I think there is a little bit room for Philly to get better in this game, especially because they could make some of the open threes they missed as well. But also, Philly, a lot of the shots they were giving up are shots they're going to continue to give up throughout the series because they've shown those are the shots they're going to give up throughout the regular season and the first 3 games of this series so far. We have a 7-game sample size, or I guess technically 6 because Joel didn't play that game 1. We have like a 6-7 game sample size now that suggests what Philly's going to be giving up consistently, especially when Joel's on the floor, on the court. And with Joel still not being really 100% conditioning-wise, it matters, especially if he's going to be tired and he's not going to be able to make every single closeout, everything. Listen, heart wise, his heart is in the right place, Joel. He wants to win so badly. You can tell. Like that closeout on Grant, he's dead tired. I know he's dead tired. He's trying to do everything he can to try to will his team to a victory, but he's just not capable of doing everything. His stamina and endurance is just not there to be able to do it. And so he's going to give up stuff defensively. And the Celtics can be a lot better containing the basketball. They can be a lot better containing the basketball. Defensively, they were not their sharpest tonight. They weren't necessarily, it wasn't a horrible lack of effort defensively. I thought it was pretty good, especially on pick and roll defense. It was pretty good. I would like maybe one or two illegal, give me one illegal screen to be called the next game, hopefully. But other than that, I really think that the Celtics can play better, and they still won this game by 10. They still won this game by double digits. So I think there's a lot to feel good about here. If you're a Celtics fan, if you're a Sixers fan, listen, you can still you're capable of winning this series, but it's not completely in your control. You need the Celtics to have letdowns, and you need to hyper execute your half court offense. You need to execute much better, and you can't miss as many shots. And the problem is you have a lot of leaks in your boat right now, and it just may be too many to be able to fix all at once. It is the problem for the Sixers right now. And that would be my biggest concern for them. If you're a Sixers fan, which I'm sure there's probably not going to be, there's not going to be many Sixers fans that watch this probably. So, but if you are, those are my thoughts. If you're Sixers fans, it's going to take more than Joel 30 points to win, or 40 points to win you not just the series, but just to, again, my prediction was win 3 in a row, game 5, and then win game 6. They've shown us they are, and until they prove otherwise, I'm going to go with. I think they're going to win the next game. I think they're going to stay just locked in enough because they know there's some stuff they can do better on film for sure. If I can see it, they can see it for sure. Joe's going to point it out probably, especially if he's letting Jason Tatum know defensively, and that went public in the video the Celtics posted from their locker room talk, that you got to be better defense. And Jason Nopad is just, yeah, I know. He didn't say it like he was pissed at Joe, but he's just, yeah, I know, Joe. I got to do better. It was like one of those. So they know they can do better containing the basketball, and I think they still feel like they have a little bit more to prove, and I think there's an opportunity. I think it's going to be desperation for Philly in game 5, and then a combination of the Celtics being okay with losing a game. And I think that combination, based on what we've seen so far, suggests the Celtics to have a letdown game. And then game 6, they go out, really close game, down to the wire. Philly still in desperation, but Boston not in full desperation, but enough edge to pull it out. So those are my thoughts. Game 5 is on Sunday. I'll probably have a breakdown. I think I should be able to do a game that night. We'll see. But yeah, this one went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I like to go in depth. I like to go in depth on each possession, and I know it's a lot short attention spans for a lot of people on either NBA Twitter or YouTube, but we'll see. We'll just see where this channel goes, where this where it goes on Twitter and YouTube. I'm not exactly sure, but I love breaking down basketball. I love watching the Celtics. It's literally my Twitter bio. It's really how I feel. And so we're just going to keep doing these. And maybe eventually, they'll grow. And eventually we can expand to do all NBA. And I mean, I'll still talk about some stuff, NBA league wide, maybe on a Twitter post or a small, like Steph Curry, what makes him so special, stuff like that. And maybe some shorter videos on breakdowns of other teams. But At a minimum, for now, we're gonna keep doing, unless I start getting requests from, like certain people, to do like breakdowns of other stuff. If I, maybe get like one video that can go, that can spread around a little bit, then maybe. But for now, at a minimum, just keep doing breakdowns of the film for the Celtics each game and go from there. All right. I blabbered on enough stuff. I'm gonna sign off now. Good. The Celtics took the 2-1 series lead. Let's see if they can go get a 3-1 series lead now and put themselves in a really good position to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. All right.